The silence in the command center was heavy. Admiral Kim Hyun-woo stood before the massive screen, watching the alien ships hover above Earth like dark clouds before a storm. 3 months had passed since the Vryn Dominion arrived and surrounded his world. 3 months of watching, waiting, and hoping for a miracle that never came. Captain Han Dae-woo entered the room with quick steps. His uniform was pressed, but his face showed the strain of sleepless nights. He saluted the admiral and handed him a data pad. The message on it made Hyun-woo's jaw tighten. "They sent another transmission," Dae-woo said quietly. "This one is marked as final." Hyun-woo read the words on the screen. The Vryn were done talking. They wanted Earth to give up all human colonies beyond the solar system. They wanted Earth to become their servants. And they wanted 40% of all humans sent to their mining worlds to work until they died. Earth had 72 hours to agree. 40%, Hyun-woo repeated the number like it tasted bad in his mouth. That's 3 billion people. Ambassador Lee Minji was already on the communication channel with the Vryn flagship. Her image appeared on the side screen. She sat in a small negotiation room, facing the holographic form of High Consul Thexular. The alien looked like a mix between an insect and a lizard, with too many eyes and a mouth that seemed to have too many teeth. "Surely we can find common ground," Minji said, keeping her voice steady. "Humanity is willing to share resources, to establish trade, to recognize your territorial claims in disputed systems. But what you ask is impossible. We cannot simply hand over billions of our people." Thexler made a sound that might have been laughter. His translator device turned it into clicking sounds mixed with words. "You misunderstand your position, human. This is not a negotiation. This is an instruction. You have something we want. You will give it to us or we will take it from your corpses. You would kill billions over territory?" Minji's composure cracked slightly. "We have killed more for less," Thexelar said casually. "Your species is young. You do not understand how the galaxy works. The strong take what they wish. The weak serve or die. These are the only rules that matter." The transmission ended abruptly. Minji's face appeared on the main screen in the command center. She looked tired and defeated. "He won't listen. They don't see us as equals. They see us as animals." Hyun-woo nodded slowly. He had expected this. The Vryn had destroyed 2 human colony ships when they first arrived, killing 10,000 people just to get Earth's attention. They were not interested in peace. They were interested in dominance. "Call the Defense Council," Hyun-woo ordered. "Everyone now." Within an hour, the command center filled with the highest-ranking officers and scientists left alive. Many seats were empty. Many good people had died in the first attacks. Captain Dae-woo stood near the tactical display, showing the positions of enemy ships. There were 317 Vryn vessels surrounding Earth. Humanity had 12 capital ships left, 30 frigates, and a handful of defense platforms that were already damaged. "We cannot win a direct fight," Admiral Yoon Taejin said bluntly. He was the captain of the ESS Retribution, one of the few remaining battleships. "Their shields are too strong. Their weapons cut through our hulls like paper. If we attack, we die in minutes." "Then we don't attack directly," said a new voice. Dr. Park Ji-won entered the room with a security team. She carried a sealed case marked with red warning symbols. "We use Prometheus." The room went silent. Prometheus protocol was a legend among the military. Some said it was humanity's secret weapon. Others said it was a desperate fantasy. No one knew for sure because it was classified above almost everyone's security level. Hyun-woo gestured for Ji-won to continue. She placed the case on the table and opened it with her fingerprint and retinal scan. Inside was a small device that looked disappointingly ordinary. Just a metal sphere with some lights on it. "For the past 5 years," Ji-won began, "my team has been working on quantum entanglement technology. Not for communication, for access. We discovered that if we can entangle our quantum particles with those in another system, we can create a bridge, a backdoor." "A backdoor into what?" Dae-woo asked. "Into anything," Ji-won said. "Into their ships, their computers, their weapons, their life support, everything." The implications hit everyone at once. If they could access Vryn systems, they could shut them down. They could turn the enemy's own technology against them. "Why haven't we used this before?" Yoon asked. "Because we haven't finished testing it," Ji-won admitted. "We've run simulations. We've tested it on our own ships, but we've never deployed it against an actual enemy fleet. We don't know if it will work. And we don't know what the side effects might be." "Side effects?" Minji looked worried. Quantum entanglement on this scale requires enormous energy, G1 explained. If something goes wrong, the feedback could destroy our own systems. Or worse, it could create a quantum cascade that damages the fabric of space in this region. We could make the solar system uninhabitable. Hyunwoo studied the device. Humanity's last hope sat in a metal case on a table. It might save them all, or it might kill them all. But doing nothing would definitely kill them all. How long do we have? He asked. The Vryn deadline is in 72 hours, Daewoo reminded him. Before anyone could respond, alarms screamed throughout the command center. Red lights flashed. The tactical display lit up with new information. One of the Vryn vessels was moving out of formation heading toward the moon. They're targeting Luna Colony, a sensor officer shouted. Weapons charging. Everyone watched in horror as the Vryn ship fired its main cannon. The beam of energy struck the lunar surface like a hammer from heaven. The colony's shields lasted 3 seconds. Then the habitat domes began to crack and shatter, the communication channels filled with screams. 40,000 people lived in Luna Colony, scientists, miners, families. Within minutes, those screams went silent. The command center was frozen. No one could speak. They had just watched the Vryn murder an entire city just to make a point. Thexuler's face appeared on the screen again. He was not smiling, but his eyes showed satisfaction. That was your demonstration. 71 hours remain. If you do not agree to our terms, we will do the same to Beijing. Then London. Then Mexico City. We will burn your cities one at a time until you submit, or until there is nothing left to submit. The transmission ended. Hyunwoo turned to Jiwon. His face was stone, but his eyes burned with cold fury. How long do you need to deploy Prometheus? 24 hours to complete the preparations, she said. But Admiral, I need to warn you again. This has never been tested in real combat. The risks are acceptable, Hyunwoo interrupted. We have no choice. They have made their intentions clear. They will not stop. They will not negotiate. They will kill us all unless we become their slaves, and I would rather die free than live in chains. He looked around the room at the faces of humanity's last defenders. Prepare Prometheus Protocol. Prepare our fleet. Prepare everything we have. In 24 hours, we show the Vryn what happens when you back humans into a corner. Captain Daewoo saluted. What do you want us to tell the people? They saw what happened to Luna Colony. They're terrified. Hyunwoo thought for a moment. Then he smiled, and it was not a kind smile. Tell them to hold on. Tell them that Earth does not surrender. Tell them that the Vryn made their choice. Now they will learn the price of that choice. The Defense Council dispersed to their stations. The countdown had begun. In 71 hours, Earth would either be free or destroyed. There would be no middle ground. The ice beneath Antarctica had kept secrets for millions of years. Now it kept one more. 2 kilometers under the frozen surface, engineer Choi Sang-hyun worked in a facility that officially did not exist. His fingers moved across holographic controls while sweat dripped down his face despite the cold. Quantum marker deployment at 97%, he announced to the team around him. The last batch should be in position within 6 hours. Dr. Park Ji-won watched the progress on multiple screens. Each screen showed a different Vryn ship in orbit. Tiny green dots appeared on each vessel, marking where quantum particles had attached themselves. The Vryn had no idea they were being tagged. How did we get the markers onto their ships? A young technician asked. Sang-hyun smiled without humor. For 3 months, the Vryn have been letting our supply ships travel between Earth and the remaining stations. They searched the ships for weapons, but they never thought to scan for quantum particles. We've been seeding their entire fleet since they arrived. Brilliant, Jiwon said. Every supply run, every transport, every piece of cargo that went near a Vryn ship left a trail of markers. They were so confident in their superiority that they never saw the trap being built around them. Above. The planet Lieutenant Kang Yoonji prepared for a mission that would likely kill her. She sat in the cockpit of Shadow, an experimental stealth craft that barely showed up on any sensors. The ship was small, fast, and completely unarmed. Its only purpose was to get close to enemy vessels without being detected. Final checks complete, she reported over the secure channel. Quantum relay device is secured in the cargo bay. Captain Han Daewoo's voice came through her headset. Remember, Lieutenant, you just need to attach the relay to the flagship's hull. The device will do the rest. Once it's in place, get out of there as fast as you can. Understood, Captain. Beginning approach now. Shadow launched from Earth's dark side where the Vryn sensors had blind spots. The little ship accelerated toward the massive alien flagship that floated above Asia. Yunji's heart pounded, but her hands stayed steady on the controls. The Vryn flagship was 3 kilometers long, covered in weapons and armor that could destroy a city in seconds. As Shadow got closer, Yunji could see smaller ships patrolling around it. She adjusted her course to stay in the shadow of a large piece of orbital debris. 20 minutes passed like 20 hours. Finally, Shadow reached the flagship's underside. Yunji deployed the quantum relay device with a mechanical arm. The device attached itself to the alien hull with magnetic clamps. A small green light blinked once, confirming activation. Relay deployed, Yunji whispered. Turning back now. That's when everything went wrong. A Vryn patrol ship appeared from behind the flagship, its sensors sweeping the area. Shadow's stealth technology was good, but not perfect. The patrol ship's scanners detected a small anomaly. Alarms filled Yunji's cockpit. The patrol ship fired a net of energy that caught Shadow like a fish. The little craft's engines died instantly. They've got me, Yunji transmitted quickly. Repeat, they have captured Shadow, but the relay is in place. Prometheus is ready. The transmission cut off. In the command center, Admiral Hyunwoo heard Yunji's last message. His face showed nothing, but his hands gripped the edge of the console hard enough to hurt. The lieutenant knew the risks, Captain Daewoo said quietly. She volunteered for the mission. That doesn't make it easier, Hyunwoo replied. Hours passed. Humanity waited while the clock ticked down. Then the Vryn sent a new transmission. This time, they showed Lieutenant Kang Yunji in chains. She was standing in what looked like an interrogation room aboard their flagship. Thexelar stood beside her with a device in his hand. We found your little spy and her little device. Did you think we would not notice? Your technology is primitive. Your tricks are obvious. He activated the device and Yunji screamed. The sound made everyone in the command center flinch. Stop this, Ambassador Minji shouted at the screen, knowing it was useless. This human will tell us everything, Thexelar continued. She will explain your pathetic plan, and then we will use her example to show what happens to species that resist our will. The torture continued for 3 minutes before the transmission ended. Those 3 minutes felt like an eternity. Yunji had screamed, but she had not talked. She had given them nothing. Hyunwoo turned to face the command center. Every person there looked angry, horrified, or both. Good. He wanted them angry. Angry soldiers fought harder. Is Prometheus ready? He asked Jiwon. She checked her screens one final time. Yes. All markers are in position. The relay on their flagship is active despite what they think. We have access to every Vryn ship's core systems. Then prepare to broadcast, Hyunwoo said. I want every Vryn ship to hear this. I want every human colony to hear this. I want the entire galaxy to hear this. The communication officers worked quickly to set up the transmission. Within minutes, they had hijacked every frequency the Vryn used. The Admiral's message would go everywhere at once. Hyunwoo stood before the camera. Behind him, the tactical display showed Earth surrounded by enemy ships. He did not smile. He did not threaten. He simply spoke the truth. People of Earth, humans across the colonies, and Vryn Dominion. His voice was calm and cold. 3 months ago, you came to our world and demanded our surrender. We asked for peace. We offered compromise. We tried to find a solution where both our species could exist. He paused, letting his words sink in. You responded by killing 10,000 of our people in the first attack. You destroyed our colony ships. You murdered 40,000 civilians on Luna Colony. You tortured one of our officers and broadcast her suffering to break our spirit. Another pause. You gave us a choice, submit or die. You thought we would choose submission. You thought we would bow down and accept slavery because you have more ships and bigger weapons. You thought we were weak. Now Hyunwoo's eyes showed the fury he had kept hidden. You were wrong. Humanity chooses neither submission nor death. We choose a third option. We choose to make you regret ever coming to our world. You wanted war. You chose war. You get war." He leaned closer to the camera. "This is Earth's last broadcast before we show you what war with humanity truly means. You chose this path. Now face its price." The transmission ended. In the Antarctic facility, Dr. Park Ji-won looked at Engineer Sang-hyun. He nodded. She placed her hand on the activation control. "Prometheus Protocol," she said clearly. "Execute." She pressed the button. Across the Vryn fleet, something invisible spread like a disease through every computer system. The quantum markers that had been sleeping for months suddenly woke up. They connected to each other, creating a web of access that the Vryn could not see or stop. One by one, every Vryn ship began to experience system failures. Their weapons stopped responding. Their shields flickered and died. Their engines lost power. Their life support systems started to malfunction. On the flagship, Thexelar stared at his command console in confusion. As warning lights flashed everywhere, his officers shouted reports from their stations, all saying the same thing. Their ship was dying. "What is happening?" the High Consul demanded. "Fix it." His chief engineer looked at him with fear in his eyes. "I cannot, my lord. Something is inside our systems. It is everywhere at once. Every ship in the fleet is reporting the same problem." In her cell, Lieutenant Kang Yoonji heard the alarms and smiled through her pain. The relay had worked. Prometheus was active. Earth was fighting back. In Earth's command center, Engineer Sang-hyun watched his screens with amazement. "It's working. It's actually working. We have complete access to their systems. We can see everything. We can control everything." Admiral Hyunwoo turned to Captain Daewoo. "Launch the fleet. All ships. Attack now while they're helpless." Daewoo smiled. It was the first time he had smiled in 3 months. "Yes, sir. With pleasure." The 12 human capital ships that had been hiding on the far side of the moon suddenly accelerated toward the Vryn fleet. The 30 frigates followed. Every defense platform that still had weapons powered up and aimed. The Vryn were paralyzed. Their mighty fleet, which had seemed unstoppable, was now just floating metal in space. And Earth's forces were coming for them with 3 months of anger driving every shot. The ESS Indomitable cut through space like a blade. Captain Han Daewoo stood on the bridge, watching the helpless Vryn ships grow larger on his view screen. Behind him, his crew worked with focused intensity. They had waited 3 months for this moment. "Target the nearest cruiser," Daewoo ordered. "All weapons, fire!" The Indomitable's railguns spoke with thunder. Magnetic acceleration hurled shells at a fraction of light speed. Without shields, the Vryn cruiser's armor crumpled like paper. Explosions blossomed along its hull. The alien ship began to break apart. "Target destroyed," the weapons officer reported. "Moving to the next one." Across the battlefield, Earth's other ships were doing the same. Admiral Yoon Taejin's vessel, the ESS Retribution, systematically destroyed Vryn command ships. Each shot was precise. Each shot was lethal. The frigates swarmed around larger enemy vessels like wolves around wounded prey. In the Antarctic facility, Engineer Choi Sang-hyun watched data stream across his screens. "We're downloading everything from their systems. Military codes, fleet positions, star charts, technology databases. It's all here." Dr. Park Ji-won stood beside him, amazed at what they were seeing. "They have files on 17 extinct species. Civilizations they completely destroyed. They're not warriors. They're genocidal. Keep downloading," she ordered. "We need all of it." On the Vryn flagship, chaos ruled. High Consul Thexelar screamed orders that no one could follow. His ship was dead in space. His fleet was being torn apart. And the humans he had dismissed as insects were winning. "Restore power," he shouted at his chief engineer. "Do something." "I cannot, my lord," the engineer said, his voice shaking. "Whatever the humans did, it has locked us out of our own systems. We are blind and helpless." Thexelar struck the engineer across the face. "Then we die as warriors. Activate the self-destruct. If we cannot win, we will take as many humans with us as possible." The engineer tried to access the self-destruct system. Nothing happened. "The system does not respond, my lord." In her cell, Lieutenant Kang Yoonji heard the argument through the walls. She had been working on the access panel near her door for the past hour. using a piece of broken metal from her interrogation chair. The Vryn had taken her tools, but they had underestimated human determination. The panel came loose. Behind it, she found emergency control circuits. The ship's main systems were down, but emergency backups still had some power. Yunji had trained as an engineer before becoming a pilot. She knew how to work with basic circuits. Her fingers moved quickly, rerouting power and bypassing safeties. The cell door's magnetic lock failed. She was free. Yunji moved through the corridors carefully. The Vryn crew was too busy panicking to notice one escaped human. She found a data terminal that still had minimal power. Using her knowledge of computer systems, she began accessing the ship's historical records. What she found made her blood run cold. Files on 17 species, detailed records of their destruction. The Vryn had not just conquered these civilizations, they had erased them completely. Billions of lives ended because they refused to become slaves. She downloaded the files to a small storage device she took from the terminal. The galaxy needed to see this. Everyone needed to know what the Vryn really were. An alarm started blaring. Someone had noticed she was gone. Yunji ran toward the nearest communication room. She dodged Vryn soldiers in the corridors, using her smaller size to hide in spaces they could not fit. The communication room was abandoned. Everyone had gone to fight the fires and try to restore ship systems. Yunji locked the door behind her and accessed the long-range transmitter. It still had power from the emergency batteries. She activated the transmitter and set it to broadcast on all frequencies. Then she uploaded the files she had stolen. "This is Lieutenant Kang Yunji of the Earth Space Service," she said into the recorder. "I am broadcasting from the Vryn flagship. What you are about to see is proof of genocide. The Vryn Dominion has destroyed 17 intelligent species. Complete extinction. Billions of lives erased." She played the files. Images and videos appeared on the screen. Worlds burning, cities crumbling, species crying out as they died. The Vryn had recorded everything like they were proud of it. "This is what they planned for humanity," Yunji continued. "This is what they do to anyone who refuses to submit. The galaxy needs to know. We are not fighting for territory or resources. We are fighting to survive against a species that commits genocide as policy." The transmission went out. Every human ship received it. Every human colony received it. And through the quantum network that Prometheus had created, other species across nearby star systems received it too. The door exploded inward. Vryn soldiers rushed in, weapons raised. But they were too late. The message had been sent. On Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo watched the transmission with a mixture of pride and horror. Pride that Yunji had survived and gotten such important information. Horror at what that information revealed. "Broadcast this everywhere," he ordered. "I want every species in known space to see what the Vryn have done. Let them judge who the real monsters are." Captain Daewoo's voice came over the communication channel. "Admiral, the enemy fleet is nearly destroyed. Should we board the flagship and extract Lieutenant Kang?" "Yes," Hyunwoo said immediately. "And take Thexelar alive if possible. He will answer for his crimes." The Indomitable moved toward the massive flagship. Its weapons stayed powered but did not fire. Daewoo wanted prisoners, not corpses. A boarding team assembled in the airlock, wearing combat armor and carrying weapons designed for close combat. Thexelar watched the human ship approach on his view screen. He felt something he had not felt in many years, fear. The humans had beaten him. They had turned his entire fleet into scrap metal. They had stolen his data and revealed his secrets to the galaxy. He reached for a sidearm, thinking he would at least kill some humans before dying. His hand touched the weapon. Then the ship's emergency systems flickered. The lights went out. When they came back on, the weapon was gone. Thexelar looked at his empty hand in confusion. "Even your sidearm is controlled by computer systems," a voice said in his language. It came from the intercom. "We have control of everything on your ship, including the door to your command center." The door opened. Human soldiers rushed in. They moved fast and precise. Weapons trained on every Vryn in the room. Within seconds, the entire command crew was surrounded. One soldier walked up to Thexelar. The High Consul was twice the human size, but the soldier did not show any fear. "High Consul Thexelar," the soldier said, "you are under arrest for genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. You have the right to remain silent, but I hope you don't. We have a lot of questions." Thexelar tried to strike the soldier. His arm moved fast, but the human was faster. The soldier dodged and struck back with a shock baton. The High Consul fell to his knees, his body jerking from the electrical current. "Take him to the brig," the soldier ordered. "And find Lieutenant Kang. She's somewhere on this ship." They found Yunji in the communication room, surrounded by unconscious Vryn soldiers. She had fought them with nothing but a piece of broken pipe and pure determination. Her face was bruised and she could barely stand, but she was smiling. "Did the transmission get through?" she asked. "It got through," the soldier confirmed. "The whole galaxy knows now." "You did good, Lieutenant." "Good," Yunji said. Then she collapsed. The soldier caught her before she hit the ground. On the Indomitable's bridge, Captain Daewoo watched the last Vryn ship surrender. The battle was over. The blockade was broken. Earth was free. "Casualty report," he requested. 237 dead across all ships, the tactical officer reported. 800 wounded. "We lost one frigate completely. But, sir, we destroyed or captured 317 enemy vessels. Every single ship in their fleet." Daewoo nodded slowly. The price had been high, but they had paid it willingly. And the Vryn had paid much more. Admiral Hyunwoo's face appeared on the screen. "Captain, secure all prisoners and salvage what you can from the Vryn ships. We have their technology now. We have their secrets. And we have their leaders." "What about their homeworld?" Daewoo asked. "They will send more fleets when they learn what happened here." Hyunwoo's expression was hard. "Then we will be ready. And if they want war, we will bring war to them." The Vryn made their choice. Now they live with the consequences. The camera view switched to show Earth below. The blue planet that had been surrounded and threatened now floated free. The Vryn blockade was nothing but debris and captured ships. Humanity had faced extinction. Humanity had refused to die. And now the galaxy would learn a new lesson. Never corner a human being. Never threaten their home, because humans fight back, and when they fight to win. 6 weeks after the battle for Earth, the ESS Indomitable emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Proxima Thalos system. Captain Han Daewoo studied the tactical display with satisfaction. 17 Vryn battlecruisers floated in orbit around the system's second planet, completely unaware that death had just arrived. "They have not detected us yet," his sensor officer reported. "The Vryn identification codes we took from their flagship are working perfectly. Their systems think we are one of them." Daewoo smiled coldly. "Good. Prepare all weapons, but do not power them up yet. I want to get as close as possible before they realize their mistake." Behind the Indomitable, 15 other human ships followed in formation. They were a mix of Earth vessels and converted civilian ships that had been armed with weapons salvaged from the destroyed Vryn fleet. It was not much, but it would be enough. The human fleet moved deeper into the system, broadcasting Vryn identification signals. The enemy ships saw them coming but did nothing. They thought these were friendly vessels arriving for resupply. On Earth, Admiral Kim Hyunwoo watched the operation from the command center. The quantum network that had defeated the blockade still worked. Every Vryn ship humanity encountered could be accessed and controlled. It was like fighting an enemy who was already beaten but did not know it yet. Dr. Park Ji-won stood beside the Admiral, monitoring the system status. "All quantum markers are active and functioning. The moment Captain Daewoo gives the word, we can shut down every Vryn ship in that system. Tell him to proceed," Hyunwoo ordered. The message reached Daewoo instantly through secure channels. He turned to his weapons officer. "Execute." In the Antarctic facility, engineer Choi Sang-hyun activated the Prometheus protocol again. The quantum markers attached to the Vryn ships at Proxima Thalos woke up. Within seconds, 17 battlecruisers lost all power. The Indomitable and her escorts powered up their weapons and opened fire. The helpless Vryn ships could not fight back. They could not even run. They were targets in a shooting gallery. "Destroy their engines and weapons," Daewoo commanded, "but leave the crews alive. We want prisoners." The attack lasted 12 minutes. By the end, all 17 battlecruisers were crippled but intact. Boarding teams moved in to secure the vessels and take the crews captive. This was the pattern that repeated itself across a dozen star systems. Human forces, using captured Vryn codes and technology, struck deep into Dominion territory. They did not fight fair. They did not give warnings. They simply appeared, shut down enemy systems, and took what they wanted. The galaxy watched in amazement. Species that had been enslaved by the Vryn for centuries saw their oppressors defeated by newcomers. Hope began to spread among worlds that had given up hope long ago. Ambassador Li Minji led the diplomatic effort. She traveled to the Kelthran Collective, a species that had served the Vryn for 200 years. The Kelthran were tall and thin, with silver skin and large eyes. Their world had been stripped of resources to feed the Vryn war machine. Minji met with their council in a building that showed signs of poverty and neglect. The Kelthran leaders looked at her with suspicion and fear. "Why have you come here, human?" the eldest counselor asked. "Did you come to replace the Vryn as our masters?" "No," Minji said firmly. "We came to offer you freedom. The Vryn enslaved you. We want to help you break those chains." "Freedom?" Another counselor laughed bitterly. "The Vryn will return with more fleets. They will punish us for any rebellion. They always do." Minji pulled out a datapad and showed them footage from the battle at Earth, the Vryn blockade being destroyed, their flagship captured, their high consul in chains. "The Vryn are not invincible," she said. "We proved that, and we are willing to share our technology and tactics with any species willing to stand against them." The Kelthran counselors looked at each other, hope warred with fear in their expressions. "What do you want in return?" the eldest asked carefully. "Nothing is free." "We want intelligence," Minji admitted. "Information on Vryn military positions, supply routes, and weaknesses. And we want allies, not servants, not subjects. Allies who will stand with us when the Vryn try to take revenge." The eldest counselor thought for a long moment. Then she stood and extended her hand in the human gesture she had learned from the data files. "Then you have our alliance, Ambassador. The Kelthran will stand with humanity. Tell us where to strike and we will strike. Give us weapons and we will fight." Within days, the Kelthran provided detailed intelligence on Vryn operations across their region of space. They knew patrol routes, supply depot locations, and the positions of 3 major fleet staging areas. The information was gold to human military planners, but the Vryn were not sitting idle. On their homeworld of Vryn Prime, the ruling council met in emergency session. They had lost their blockade fleet. They had lost contact with dozens of outlying military bases. Species they had conquered were starting to rebel. The council leader, High Executor Vexmul, slammed his fist on the table. "How is this possible? How can one primitive species cause such damage? They have technology we did not anticipate," a military advisor explained nervously. "Some kind of quantum weapon that gives them access to our computer systems." "Our ships are vulnerable. Then make them not vulnerable," Vexmul shouted. "Upgrade our systems. Change our codes. Do whatever is necessary. That will take time, Executor. Months, perhaps years, to upgrade every ship in the fleet." Vexmul's eyes narrowed. "Then we do not give the humans time. We use the planet killers." Silence fell over the council chamber. Planet killer weapons were the most destructive tools in the Vryn arsenal, massive missiles that could crack a world's crust and boil its oceans. They were reserved for the most extreme situations. "If we use planet killers against Earth," one counselor objected, "we will be condemned by every species in the galaxy." "Let them condemn us," Vexmul said coldly. "The humans released proof of our past actions. Our reputation is already destroyed, but fear still works. If we annihilate Earth, it sends a message to every species thinking about rebellion. Oppose us and die." The council voted. The decision was made. 6 planet killer missiles were loaded onto fast courier ships and sent toward human space. On Earth, Dr. Park Ji-won was analyzing captured Vryn technology when her computer flagged an urgent message. It came from a Kelthran agent who had infiltrated a Vryn communication hub. She read the message and her blood turned to ice. "Admiral, we have a problem. A big one." Hyunwoo came to her station immediately. "What is it?" "The Vryn are sending planet killers," Jiwon said, her voice shaking. 6 of them. Target destinations include Earth, Mars Colony, and 4 other human settlements. "How long do we have?" "The missiles are on fast courier ships. They will reach human space in 72 hours. Hyunwoo felt like he had been punched in the stomach. They had won the battle for Earth only to face a new threat that could destroy everything. "Can we stop them?" he asked. Jiwon pulled up schematics she had taken from Vryn databases. Planet killers are autonomous once launched. They cannot be recalled or destroyed by normal weapons. Their armor is too thick and their shields too strong. "Then we use Prometheus," Hyunwoo said. "If the missiles have computer systems, we can access them." "It's risky," Jiwon warned. Planet killers have sophisticated countermeasures. If we try to hack them and fail, they might detonate prematurely. We could accidentally destroy our own worlds trying to save them. Engineer Choi Sang-hyun had been listening. What if we do not try to shut them down? What if we redirect them instead? Both Hyunwoo and Ji-won turned to look at him. Explain, the Admiral ordered. The missiles follow programmed courses, Sang-hyun said, thinking out loud. If we can access their navigation systems, we can change those courses. Send them somewhere that is not populated. Like where? Ji-won asked. Like stars, Sang-hyun said with a slight smile. There are 6 nearby stars with no planets. The missiles would fly into the stars and be destroyed by the heat. We turn weapons of genocide into fireworks displays. Hyunwoo liked the idea. It was clever and poetic. Can you do it? Give me 48 hours, Sang-hyun said. I will need to modify the Prometheus protocol to target missile guidance systems specifically. But yes, I think I can do it. Then do it, Hyunwoo ordered. This is priority 1. Everything else can wait. For 2 days, Sang-hyun and his team worked without sleep. They analyzed the planet killer schematics. They programmed new quantum markers designed specifically to penetrate missile computer systems. They ran simulations to make sure the plan would work. On the 3rd day, the Vrin missiles entered human space. 6 weapons of ultimate destruction, each one capable of ending billions of lives. In the Antarctic facility, Sang-hyun stared at his screens with red eyes from lack of sleep. Quantum markers are locked onto all 6 missiles. I have access to their navigation systems. Do it, Ji-won ordered. Sang-hyun's fingers danced across the controls. On his screen, the trajectories of 6 missiles began to change. Instead of heading toward human worlds, they curved away toward empty space. It's working, he whispered. They are responding to the new navigation commands. On Earth, people watched the sky with fear. They knew death was coming, but they trusted their defenders to save them. In cities across the planet, the human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Vrin Prime system and immediately faced something they had not expected. The entire planet was surrounded by defense stations, weapons platforms, and a fleet 3 times larger than the one that had blockaded Earth. Captain Han Daewoo stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, studying the tactical display with concern. They were expecting us. Admiral Kim Hyunwoo's face appeared on the communication screen. He was still on Earth, coordinating the overall war effort. Of course they were expecting us. They know we are coming for their homeworld. The question is whether they understand what we are truly capable of. Lieutenant Kang Eun-ji, who had recovered from her injuries and returned to duty, studied the defensive positions. Admiral, there are planetary shields covering the entire surface. Multiple layers overlapping coverage. We cannot attack their cities without breaching those shields first. We did not come here to attack their cities, Hyunwoo said firmly. We came to end the war, not commit genocide. A transmission came through from Vrin Prime. High Executor Vexmol appeared on the screen. His species features made emotions hard to read, but anger was clear in his voice. Humans, you have come far from your little planet, but this is where your journey ends. Surrender now or we will activate our planet killer missiles. This time, they are already positioned in your solar system. You cannot redirect them. They will detonate in 12 hours unless you withdraw immediately. Daewoo looked at the Admiral. Is he bluffing? On Earth, Dr. Park Ji-won quickly checked the sensor networks. Her face went pale. No, sir. I am detecting 6 large objects that just appeared near the orbit of Jupiter. They match the signature of planet killer missiles. How did they get past our detection? Engineer Choi Sang-hyun demanded. They must have been deployed weeks ago and left dormant, Ji-won said. Waiting for this moment. If they activate, we will have no time to redirect them. Earth and our colonies will be destroyed. The situation was impossible. If humanity attacked Vrin Prime, Earth would die. If they retreated, the Vrin would rebuild and attack again. There was no good choice. Admiral Hyunwoo sat in his chair, thinking hard. Around him, the command center was silent. Everyone waited for his decision. Open a channel to our fleet, he said finally. Captain Daewoo's face appeared on the screen, along with Admiral Yoon Taejin and the commanders of the Kelthrin forces that had joined the attack. We have a problem, Hyunwoo said bluntly, explaining the situation. Then we have no choice but to retreat. One Kelthrin commander said sadly, we cannot sacrifice Earth to win this battle. No, Lieutenant Yoonji spoke up. Everyone turned to look at her. We can still win, but we need to be faster than they expect. Explain, Hyunwoo ordered. Yoonji pulled up a technical schematic on the display. The planet killers near Jupiter need to receive an activation signal from Vrin Prime. That signal has to travel through communication relays. If we can intercept and block that signal, the missiles stay dormant. But we would need to take control of their entire communication network. Ji-won objected. That would require accessing hundreds of systems simultaneously. We have Prometheus, Yoonji said. We have quantum access to their technology. If engineer Sang-hyun can modify the protocol to target communication relays instead of ship systems, we can cut off Vrin Prime from the missiles. Sang-hyun looked thoughtful. It would be difficult. Communication systems have different security than ship systems. But yes, I think it is possible. How long do you need? Hyunwoo asked. 6 hours. Maybe 7? You have 4, the admiral said. Because once we start this attack, there is no going back. We either win completely, or we lose everything. The next 4 hours were the longest of many people's lives. On Earth, Sang-hyun and his team reprogrammed the Prometheus protocol. Around Vrin Prime, the human fleet prepared for battle, and on Vrin Prime itself, billions of civilians went about their lives, unaware that their world was about to become a battlefield. Ambassador Lee Minji watched the preparations with a heavy heart. She had spent her career trying to prevent war. Now she was part of the biggest military operation in human history. We are about to attack their homeworld, she said to Hyunwoo. Billions of Vrin live down there, families, children. Are we really going to do this? We are not going to kill civilians, Hyunwoo promised. But we are going to destroy their military capability so completely that they can never threaten anyone again. There is a difference between justice and revenge, Ambassador. We will hold that line. The 4 hours passed. Sang-hyun confirmed his modifications were ready. Prometheus Protocol version 2 is loaded and prepared. On your command, Admiral. Hyunwoo took a deep breath. Execute. The quantum markers that humanity had spent months placing throughout Vrin space activated at once. Every communication relay in the Dominion suddenly belonged to Earth. The signal from Vrin Prime to the planet killer missiles was blocked. On Vrin Prime, High Executor Vexmal saw warning lights flash on his console. What is happening? Send the activation signal to the missiles. I cannot, Executor, his communication officer said in panic. The network is not responding. We have lost control of the relays. Vexmal realized the trap too late. The humans had not just blocked the signal. They had taken over the entire communication infrastructure of the Vrin Dominion. His empire was deaf and mute. Captain Daewoo gave the order. All ships attack. Target military installations only. Avoid populated areas. The human fleet, supported by Kelthran allies and ships from 3 other liberated species, struck Vrin Prime's defenses like a hammer, but they did not use brute force. They used Prometheus. One by one, the defense stations lost power. The weapons platforms shut down. The Vrin fleet found their ships paralyzed just like at Earth. In 30 minutes, the most heavily defended world in the Dominion was defenseless. But humanity did not bombard the cities. Instead, they sent down precise strikes against military bases, weapons factories, and government buildings. Every shot was calculated to minimize civilian casualties. Dr. Park Ji-won had developed another weapon based on captured Vrin technology. It used electromagnetic frequencies that disrupted Vrin neural systems without causing permanent damage. It made them unconscious but did not kill them. Deploy the neural disruptors on all military targets, Hyunwoo ordered. Let us show them that we can win without becoming monsters. Across Vrin Prime, soldiers and military personnel suddenly collapsed as the neural disruptors activated. Entire army bases fell silent. Command centers emptied as everyone inside lost consciousness. In 12 minutes, the military might of the Vrin Dominion on their own homeworld was neutralized. Vexmal tried to run. He fled his command center and headed for a secret bunker deep underground. But human forces were already on the planet. Lieutenant Yoonji led a team that intercepted him in a government building. The High Executor was surrounded by his personal guards, all carrying weapons. Yoonji's team outnumbered them, but she did not want more bloodshed. High Executor, she called out. You have lost. Your fleet is destroyed. Your defenses are down. Your communication network belongs to us. Surrender now and your guards live. Fight and they die for nothing. Vexmal looked at his guards. They looked back at him with fear. They had seen what happened to everyone who fought the humans. They had seen their mighty fleets reduced to scrap. They had seen their proud military defeated by a species they had dismissed as primitive. One guard dropped his weapon. Then another. Within seconds, all of them had surrendered. Bexmol stood alone, his eyes filled with hate. You have won this battle, human. But this war is not over. The Vryn will never submit to you. We do not want your submission, Yunji said calmly. We want peace, but if you force us to choose between peace and victory, we will choose victory every single time. The High Executor was taken into custody. The Vryn Prime government collapsed within hours. With their military destroyed and their leaders captured, the Dominion had no way to resist. Ambassador Minji landed on Vryn Prime with a diplomatic team. She met with the civilian council that had taken over after the military government fell. They were terrified, expecting mass execution or enslavement. Instead, Minji presented them with terms of peace. The Vryn Dominion is over, she said, but the Vryn people can have a future. You will release all enslaved species. You will surrender your planet-killer weapons. You will open your territory to inspection by an independent coalition, and you will face justice for the genocides you committed. And if we refuse, one counselor asked, then we will dismantle your entire civilization piece by piece until you agree, Minji said without emotion. We do not want to do that. We would rather see you become productive members of the galactic community, but make no mistake, we will do whatever is necessary to ensure you never threaten another species again. The Vryn Council agreed to the terms. They had no choice. On Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo stood before the cameras one more time. This broadcast would go to every human world, every Vryn world, and every species in known space. People of Earth and beyond, he began. 4 months ago, the Vryn Dominion came to our world and demanded our surrender. They gave us a choice, submit or die. We chose neither. We chose to fight for our freedom and our future.